New Thought Media Network proudly presents The High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour with Reverend Cynthia and Reverend Skip. Fridays at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on New Thought Media Network.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the High Vibe Hour. I'm Rev Skip.
And I'm Reverend Cynthia.
Yes, you are. How are you, sis?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We kind of have matching hats on today. Did you notice?
We have that color scheme going on.
It's a color scheme. Although I love your hats. I feel like my head's maybe a little bit too big for my hat, so I'm getting used to it. I'm a huge hat person. I've had hats all my life. I wear baseball hats. But these are something special about these wide brim fedora hats. I love them. Where's yours coming? Where do you get yours from?
This one is from Peru. So this is the traditional hat, worn there by like the medicine men. And these things are these little bands around the hat. And these little balls on the back. These are given to you after you go through a certain set of initiations.
Oh my goodness. When you were in Peru, did you do initiations?
We did to carry the misa, and the misa is like the fabric that you carry all of your medicine in, and it represents the universe. So it's like you carry your universe in these little bundles.
Oh my God. Okay. So we have to save it for the show because you're about to go deep into the teachings today. And we didn't even check in yet. We even check in. So how are you raising the vibe this week? What has your week been like?
This week has been actually slowing down, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Right. More space in between my day. But the one thing that I did was that I booked myself a trip to Sedona. So I'll be going there next week for 3 days.
Oh, and that is your birthday, right?
That's my birthday to me. That's my birthday.
I love it. I love it. So, this is just a reminder. We probably will be doing a rebroadcast of something. And we'll have that week off for your birthday. We'll do a rebroadcast of something and then we'll be back live the following week. How do you feel about your birthday coming up? Are you one that likes to celebrate birthdays?
I do, but it's gone from, let's all meet at the club kind of thing, right? In my younger days. Good morning, Marianne. And now it's like a part of it has to be just me getting to reflect on the year. So that I can get to the next one.
But here's the thing about birthdays for me. I have mixed emotions about birthdays. Sometimes I'm excited about it. Most of the times I just want it to be done. And birthdays are really interesting for me.
We'll have to have a conversation about that. Yes.
Birthday celebrations. I've had great birthdays. I've had really extraordinary birthdays. I've had not so great birthdays.
Yes.
And it all had to do with me. It wasn't like what was happening externally. It was like me in my headspace for my birthday. So
what did you do to raise the vibe this week, Skip?
Marianne says the hats are gorgeous. Yeah, we got a hat game going on here. So we love it. We love wearing our hats. I was saying that, the idea of hats and wearing baseball hats and all that has always been in my game, but these are brand new type of kind of the feel for it and everything. Yes. And Liz is joining us this morning too. Good morning, Liz. How are you?
Hi, Liz.
Grateful that you are here. Grateful you are here. So I was telling, it's very interesting how the universe works. I'm actually speaking on Sunday. It's Mother's Day. And, my mother is hanging in. My mother's hanging in. And I'm reflecting upon her quite a bit in this time. So my emotions have been on this kind of up and down and moving forward and kind of figuring out what is the universe teaching me here? Mm-hmm. What are these deep rooted shadow work things that we get a chance to uncover around mother issues for me? So I don't know, right? Raising the vibe has been very interesting. But one thing I am doing
Yes.
tonight, I'm
Yeah.
going to see
Oh,
Beyonce.
and you got a whole outfit, right?
I got it. Well, yeah, well, kind of. Here's what happens. Let's say the outfit drama, the hat fit, the jeans fit, the vest that showed up was a little bit Halloweenish, and I'm like, no, I can't wear this to a concert. There was something else. Oh, the first hat I got was a cowboy hat that had the bandana and the belt, and when it came, I'd say, oh no, 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 no. This looks like it's for a little kid birthday party. I went, nope. So I got a new hat, which I love the new hat,
Uh-huh.
and it's so. I'm very excited because Beyonce. I went to see Beyonce in the Renaissance tour.
Mhm.
I just never got to. I was telling my housemate Bill about this, that I talked myself out of it. Many things that I wanted to do, I always, I don't want to go, and that comes from a deep rooted shadow work of not being worthy.
Yeah, it does.
And this is the time I'm going. I'm going to Cowboy Carter because I love the album. I'm going because I deserve it. I deserve it.
Mhm. I love that. One of the things that I became aware of was no sooner would I like a desire bubble up within me than my mind would come in like Jaws and say no. And so I started to say, you're yes, you be quiet. You
Uh, yeah, exactly. I recognize where I was going deep here, and I get to shift and going, okay, I do deserve to go see Beyonce. I do deserve all the lavish gifts of the universe because we live in a universe that wants to give us all the goodness.
yes.
You know, Athena's online, y'all. So you want to read that,
Hi,
Rev?
Althea. So Althea good
Althea.
says, "Hi, good afternoon. I'm so happy that I caught it live. I just found out about the show last week, so I'm here ready to get some good vibes. Thank you for being here, Althea."
I just got God bumps. I don't know if you can see that. I just got God bumps from that statement right there. Ready to get some good vibes. I am too. So last week, or was it the week before that you had date night with your husband?
So we went to the Sphere for the first time.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Stop. I gotta get up close for this.
And it was a beautiful experience. So, like you, for the I don't know how long has the Sphere been open? A year or two already,
About a year and a half. Yeah, but that's one of the things I want to do.
right? And I kept saying, I'm not going to spend that much money to go to a movie, right? Because it wasn't a concert; it was during the day.
Yeah.
And I woke up that morning. I gave my talk, and I said to Jesse, "We're going to treat ourselves today. We're going to do something that we've been wanting to do for a long time." So we went to the Sphere, and it's beautiful. And I thought that the movie was just going to play on the screen in front of us, but the
Mhm.
whole sphere was the screen above you, behind you, to the left and to the right. So it was like divine colors of life here on the planet in 3D, it felt like. And then every time that like a stampede would go by,
Right.
a gust of wind would hit your face and the chair would shake and
Oh my God, that is so awesome. I mean, that is on top of my list of things to do and to see. So when I come to visit you in Vegas,
we're
we
going
gotta put it. What was the name of the movie?
postcards from Earth. It was
Wow.
it was so beautiful, Skip. You have to.
Wow. Oh, absolutely. See, I, ha- one of the things I know that these things come up in us, and our initial kind of reaction to it or interaction with it is, oh, I want to enjoy that. I want to go and see that.
Mhm.
Then somewhere we get into the thinking of our heads and start to talking ourselves out of why we don't deserve it, or why
Mhm.
we can't afford it, or we don't have enough time. We have to learn to stop that
Yes,
and
absolutely.
really tap into it. So it was reasonable to go in the afternoon with the meal. Or was it still pretty? But that's
It,
okay.
it was, yeah. I mean, they have concerts in there, and part of me wanted to go and see the movie first. That way, I knew whether or not I want to see a concert there.
And
Uh,
now,
and I say more yes to the movie than to the concert because
who's there now? Who's in the sphere now?
I want to say
Is it the Grateful Dead?
the Grateful Dead has been there. I think the Backstreet Boys are supposed to be there. Kenny Chesney, which I'm not a fan of, I believe is also going to be.
You know, yeah, I'm gonna wait until somebody comes up that I want to. This is part of the celebration of life, sis.
Yes,
This is a celebration of life, which is so incredibly important that we do that. We celebrate life.
exactly.
That's
Give us
amazing.
option.
Yeah. So, kind of when you were talking about this is a great segue into what we're talking about today. I'm thinking you're explaining it and you're saying the colors of the trees, and I'm like, well, was she on psilocybin or what? Was she having a ceremony up in there
I
since the day? Go ahead.
so that's one of the draws. I believe that people go there in like to under the influence of some things, right? Because
Yeah.
it's I think the visuals are incredible, but because of how the seats are, I would not want to be in an altered state because I feel like I would fall into the movie.
I love that. Today we're talking about plant medicine and ceremony and the healing properties of plant medicine. And before we drop into this, I want to give a disclaimer. First of all, we're not telling anyone to go and have a plant medicine ceremony. What we're giving you is our experience of plant medicine and what we have done. And we're going to be really honest and really talk about this because we know that this is, and we believe, this is our belief, our thesis, that we believe that plant medicine is a form of healing. And believe it or not, plant medicine has been around long before Christianity. Plant medicine has been here at the beginning of time. It's healing from the source of Mother Earth. That's what we're talking about. And there are different ceremonies that have been created through shamanism. And part of this idea is that we're not telling you to do this. We're just having an honest conversation, right? Right, Rev?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's probably had some stigma around it, right, for some time. But do you remember when we were in ministerial studies and
I do.
and Bishop Carlton Pearson was our teacher,
Mhm.
and the book that we were studying in that class spoke about shamanism and the mushroom, and it's
Absolutely.
amanitas is the mushroom, the red mushroom with the white dots. And if you go down that rabbit hole, Santa Claus came as a result of that mushroom. Right?
Uh,
There.
yeah. Just think about it. Just think about it. What I loved about that class, in many classes, we were also in world religions, and we
Yeah.
were sitting together, and I had only done psilocybin at the time and as a ceremony with intention, and I realized, we were talking about it, and you were talking about another, I had read about it called Bufo.
Oh yeah.
And that was the introduction into a deeper psychedelic experience as a way of healing. Now, there's a lot of people who do a lot of mushrooms, do a lot of stuff and no judgments, because trust me, being on a dance floor, having a experience like that, that is healing as well.
Yeah.
When you are looking, and I want people to understand what is plant medicine before we actually dive into it. What is your definition of plant medicine?
So for me, when I think about plant medicine, I think about the herbs, perhaps the plants that people have been working with for millennia on our planet, right? A lot of the previous generations, they didn't have aspirin, they didn't have pharmacies to go to, so they would study the plants in their environments, learn their properties, and work with them. So this has been a part of how humanity has functioned on this planet. I feel that this holistic way of being has
Mm,
been interrupted.
mm. Why do you think this interruption has happened? Because I remember reading something about cannabis and hemp, and how hemp was actually legal, and hemp was being created into our clothing and in different spaces. And in America, it was really being done in San Diego area. And
Mhm.
in America, there was this ban on using this plant medicine on this war on drugs,
Yes.
but it was naturally used for making clothes, for coloring hair, for healing. I mean, hemp and cannabis was a natural way of healing. And every day, why do you think this interruption happened?
Uh, don't think that I'm judging them. I'm just aware that
Yeah.
at some point, when people discover these things and that money can be made,
Mm,
certain things then become prohibited. And while they create the knockoff, right, to sell it to you.
wow.
Mhm.
Ooh.
That
Oh, we jumped in. Go
and
ahead.
and let's say, for example, I was listening to a story yesterday about Jesus, Yeshua. Uh,
Hmm.
and in one of there's a quote in the Bible where he says something about the Holy Spirit is my mother, and she takes me to the top of a mountain. And Yeshua was working at the time with a plant called soma, or a beverage would be made, and then
Hmm.
they would go into these journeys, right, to receive guidance and answers. So that being said, to me, Jesus is a prime example of an activist that could not be controlled by the powers that be.
Mm.
So they don't
Wow.
want people. They don't want people empowering themselves, right?
But if you look at our indigenous brothers and sisters,
Mhm.
there are stories after stories from Africa to our indigenous Americans to Mexicans to the end, to the Aztecs, to these people who were tapped into the earth, and they chose to go on. I love the word journey. Journey is
Mhm.
a big word in plant medicine. We say we're going on a journey because we are. Um, and it was such a natural way of being, so purely for the intention of spiritual awakening, to
Correct.
becoming more in depth, more awake, to become more alive. Um, I believe that if we continue to hold on to that intention and what it was used for, then we are on a incredible journey of self awareness.
One of my first journeys was I was studying with a Native American woman in Sedona back in 2004, and Rob Morgan was in my group. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
right. So back in 2004, Rob was in my group, and so were a few others. There was about six of us, and she took us out to the outskirts of Sedona into a cave, and she gave us psilocybin mushrooms to journey while we were there. But mind you, this was taking place under her supervision, right?
Mm,
In a very sacred setting, with the intention of discovering more about ourselves and healing and being open to receive guidance.
yeah.
Uh,
I want you to speak a little bit more about that, because my next question to you is
mhm,
shamanism.
mhm.
And the definition of a shaman is someone who is spiritual guide into the mystical, will be with you, to love you, to hold you while you're having your mystical experience, and then guide you home. Can you
Exactly.
speak to shamanism? And I believe there's some people who, listen, you can't get your weekend shamanism um badge. It takes years of practice. And I remember you and I were studying for a little bit, and I'm going to continue my journey. I don't know how or where it's going to lead me to practice with, but we were studying with Manuel, a friend of ours, and who is a shaman. Speak to shamanism and why it's so important to understand the role of a shaman when you're choosing to go into plant medicine experience or journey.
So I'm going to use an example. If you were going to climb Mount Everest, would you want somebody to train you and guide you that was lukewarm and that had never really done it before? Like,
I laugh because when you think about it, come on, it's like if you have a brain surgery, would you want someone who just started med school?
Right, that was curious about being a doctor and just put on a coat and said, "Well, let
me operate on your brain."
No, you want people that have put in the time, the work, that have gone through their own intense healing journeys. Right?
Yeah.
That's very, very important. You want someone that is heart-centered, right? So most of the time, these trainings, these shamanic trainings, take years, right?
Yeah.
Most people have to go and spend 3 to 5 years in the jungle communing with the different plants.
Yeah.
That's traditional training.
And I was going to say, and when you go through the sacred Pachamama, it's also knowing each and every plant you are practicing with, because there are the little tiny ones, the little child mushrooms, we call it the little kids, but then you have the grandmama, which is ayahuasca, which brings on a whole different journey, and then you have the different ones that we call the mother, but they're different experiences that you're going to have to uncover different doorways, open up different doorways.
I agree. So yeah, the mushrooms are referred to as the children because they tend to be playful, right? Ayahuasca is, and I don't know.
It ain't playful, child.
No, she means business for the most part.
She, y'all, let me tell you, she means business. She's grandmama that turns you over her lap and give you a beautiful, loving swat. You know that grandmama? You know, I call it Big Mama. When we go into Big Mama's house, you know, Big Mama ain't playing.
She don't give you what you want. She gives you what you need.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Big Mama. Big Mama. And, you know, here's the one thing, too. I was talking to another friend of ours, another minister, Reverend Tina Miggs out in Florida, and we were having a conversation about it. And, you know, it's like that is the only ceremony that you are nervous, so nervous to go in. You're like, oh, my goodness, I don't know what's going to be uncovered, because, you know, something's going to come up that needs to be healed.
I always look at ayahuasca kind of like as a cleanser. Right? She goes in and she finds all the dark pockets that need to have a light shone on them. Sometimes she's been nice to me, but just to set me up for the following day. But sometimes we have no idea what we're carrying in our subconscious. And it can be from this lifetime, it can be from past lifetimes.
Deep. My experience, and I've only really experienced a deep ayahuasca, you know, ceremony once. And it was not my favorite because it uncovered a lot of demons. Within me. I was in Florida, that I was coming back home, that I know I need to face demons around my belief system, demons around all the things that were holding me back, demons around what I was, and I'm saying this in a God way because I don't believe in duality. So when I say demons, I believe things that needs to be uncovered through my ego. That's the demons I'm talking. I'm not talking about good, evil, bad angels. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about demons that are uncovered, that are deep into the dark, that needs to be brought to the light.
So belief, basically.
Belief. Absolutely. And I remember I'm in the midst of this and I just wanted to stop. And it was like, no, we ain't done yet. I'm like, I want to stop. And it's like, okay, finally, then you just get to the point you're going, okay, I just need to surrender to this. What is the surrendering practice for you for plant medicine?
Oh, I fight her tooth and nail every time she comes knocking. I'm like, nope, not going, not going for a while, because I feel that the medicines call you,
Mm,
right? If it's something that you are meant to be working with, then it starts to come up as an idea, right? As a possibility. And ayahuasca is not my favorite of the medicines. So I tend to hold her at bay as long as I can because I know it's always going to be deep and profound.
absolutely. We have
Mhm.
a question from Liz. Are you ready to answer a question, Shaman? Because I'm
Yeah.
gonna give this one to you.
So Liz is asking, are there legitimate health issues where plant medicine should be avoided? Absolutely, and medications. Um, people that are on medications for like depression or anxiety, they're called inhibitors, I believe, are not. It's not recommended that you do plant medicine without having stayed off of medicine for at least 30 days to get it out of your system completely. That's the contra. Um, these medicines that are prescribed by psychiatrists are the
Right.
ones that you have to be very, very careful with.
And I always get the same question. People ask me the same question. I have, is it okay for people who are in program who have a problem with addiction? I say I can't answer that, but I do know. Let me give you the story. I know several people who have gone through the ayahuasca experience to help them with their drinking, and they no longer drink. I can't tell you that is going to be your experience. And the only thing that you can do is go to your sponsor. And some people sponsors will say no. But I do know people, several people who are in program that went through the ayahuasca experience and they're still sober. So part of that, I believe, is the journey of figuring things out.
Yes. And like for me, addiction had been an issue right earlier in life. And it
Mhm.
wasn't until I did plant medicine that I had an experience of God that I understood why the addiction. Uh,
Yeah.
because because there was this hole that could be filled by nothing else other than God, but I needed to numb the pain in the meantime. Right.
Mm.
So for me that helped. But here's one of the things that's super, super important because when you do plant medicine, you enter higher states of awareness of consciousness, and if you don't have the circuits in place, the wiring in place to hold these high frequency energies, then it's just going to be high frequency in that moment, and you're not going to be able to walk away from that ceremony and put it into use. So how do you build a system that can not only experience it while you're there, but hold it while you're leaving and then implement it for the rest of your life?
And what you're talking about here, Rev, you're talking about integration. There's a
Yeah.
part of every retreat, every ceremony, every healing process, the facilitator will talk about. So, what is the integration? How are you going to integrate what you've learned in the ceremony into your everyday life? One of the beautiful things that I love is the fasting period. There's a part before you go in, especially with Bufo, and I know ayahuasca. I'm not sure about San Pedro, but there's a time that for Bufo was 2 weeks of no plant, no, excuse me, no drug, no alcohol. There was no meats. There was completely being pure in your body, no salt, no sugar. I was the cleanest that I have ever experienced, so I can go into the ceremony, and it's a wonderful preparation. And
Mhm.
part of plant medicine, if you're choosing to do it, is what is your prep time? Who are you prepping with? Have you found the shaman? Are you in contact with the shaman to guide you through the experience of setting yourself up for what you were saying to be at the highest frequency in in that ceremony, in the journey, and then to be able to integrate it coming out?
Right. And not only so integration is one thing, but building the circuits before you even embark on a
Ooh.
medicine experience. Right? If you have just been living up in your head and have not been living in your body, then likely you don't have the circuits to hold that high frequency energy, which is why I love the energy code so much because it's all about building the circuitry and being embodied.
There's another. Oh, I'm go. No, I'm sorry. Go, sis.
This way, when you hit those high frequency energies, they're not going to scare the shit out of you because you have the equipment to interpret what that is.
There you go with the cursing again. Lord have mercy. Listen, we have a very good friend who lives in Costa Rica, JJ.
Mm-hmm.
JJ Mubarak, and we've talked about this high experience of integration and the frequency. How important is it for someone to feel safe around their shaman as they're going in?
It makes a tremendous difference, right? Because if, as it is, it might be a scary experience to begin with because you're going to encounter parts of yourself that you weren't aware of. So if you don't trust the people that you're with, it can become a very nightmarish experience for you. Right? So what is Liz saying, Skip?
I'm not going to say it. She says, don't tell this to anyone. When you start that off, I ain't saying it to anyone. So I got you, Liz. This is such a, we could do like thousands of shows on this because, there was a great docuseries on Netflix about psilocybin. Mm-hmm. And the practice of the healing of the mushroom. I got so much information on that. But when we come back, we're actually going to talk about the different type of plant medicines that are out there. Psilocybin, ayahuasca is not the only one. Depending on how deep you want to go and where how you want to go through your experience. So we have many different things we're going to talk about when we come back. You're listening to us. We are the High Vibe Hour, Rev Skip and Rev Cynthia here on the New Thought Media Network. We'll be right back, y'all.
Are you passionate about media, storytelling, and making a difference? Welcome to New Thought Media Network, where your voice matters. We amplify diverse voices and share impactful stories. Join us in our mission. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to creativity and community, looking for enthusiastic volunteers who want to be part of something bigger, learn, grow, and collaborate in various aspects of media production. Incredible support and camaraderie await you here. Your contributions will help us create powerful content that resonates with audiences and drives social change.
Ready to make a difference? Visit our website www.ntmedia.org to learn more about volunteer opportunities and how you can get involved.
Find our volunteer inquiry under the Engage tab on our website, or visit www.ntmedia.org/volunteer. We look forward to connecting with you soon.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents the High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour with Reverend Cynthia and Reverend Skip. Fridays at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on New Thought Media Network.
Hey, y'all, welcome back to the High Vibe Hour here at the New Thought Media Network. We're going deep, y'all. We're just talking about our experience and some of the things about plant medicine. And I always get that question. I don't know if you get it, Rev, but people are very curious about it. And I always go, have you ever done plant medicine? I'm going, well, look at me. You probably guess I have. People, like-minded people draw like-minded people. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you get that question as well?
Well, you know what? Since I published about it in the book,
Oh, that's right.
right, I kind of outed myself. So yeah, people know that I've been
So
working.
what is the controversy then? Why do you, I mean, I know it's very controversial. I know what it is, but in your opinion, I believe there are more people in the closet about doing plant medicine than they are in the closet about being queer. I think, or I call it secret spirituality. They practice what is it, the stigma, do you think, or do you feel the stigma around plant medicine? Because we know it's a healing way, it's a spiritual practice. What do you think?
And maybe it's because of the way that it's been viewed by society for a while, right? It's a lot of people refer to it as a drug when it is not. It's a medicine. They are medicine, right?
Absolutely. And Liz has given us permission right now. She says she just put it out there purposely. She says, you want to read that?
So it says, I don't tell this to anyone, but I'm on morphine for pain from serious fibromyalgia pain. I also have atrial fibrillation, I believe, from COVID vaccines, and my body is older than its age, right? So I believe, so even just like with pain medicine, like beginning to release the stigma and the shame around it, because we will support ourselves in whatever way we need to at every moment.
It's very important what Liz was talking about. So listen, a lot of us I took the vaccine. So I know people who took the vaccine, and I know how I felt after taking the vaccine. And there is a cleansing plant medicine. I'm not giving you any advice to go do this or whatever, but I know the stories of San Pedro has been a way to cleanse out a lot of the vaccines and the energy that you have around vaccines. There are practices there for cleansing the body.
Yeah. There's also a natural supplement called Root, ROO, that helps you to get rid of anything that may have been in there that does not feel good.
Yeah. Which is a lot of things that we take, a lot of things that we eat, a lot of things that we drink.
Right. So Kambo is another. Kambo. So there's medicines that are hallucinogenic and some that are not. Right. So Kambo is a toad from the Amazon that is a non-hallucinogenic. And I used it the first time because my kidneys were getting ready to shut down because of medicine that I had been on for the autoimmune. And so I did a session with Kambo. They do slight burns, like with a little branch, right? And then they put the medicine on these pieces where the skin has been removed, and it goes into your system immediately, and it's a detoxifier. So it cleanses out the kidneys, the pancreas, the liver. But not only does it work on the biology, it helps you to cleanse emotions and energies, right? So it works on every level. So I have Kambo here at home, and I work with it every couple of months to keep my kidneys functioning.
Let's ask another question. Hey, Kathy's online with us, one of our members at North Hollywood. Hi, sis. And she asked this, hey, Rev Skip and Rev Cynthia, is plant medicine the same as homeopathic? For example, I don't know what this medicine is. Do you know what this homeopathic medicine is?
Arnica it looks like, I think it's part of the sunflower family, and it helps with pain. So that is a natural way to address pain. So it's not like a hallucinogenic, but it's still a plant that is a medicine. Yes.
And so go back to that, because you were saying this is very, very important, y'all. not every plant medicine that we take is hallucinogenic.
No. So there is kambo, which is very, very helpful, right? To assist the body in many ways. Um, I'm trying to think of other plants. Tobacco. People frown on tobacco, but tobacco is very sacred. It's used in ceremonies, and it doesn't have the nicotine or the 50 other chemicals that are put into cigarettes, right? So you're working with the natural state of the tobacco plant that gets blessed.
When I had the experience of tobacco, we didn't smoke it. It actually was a pinch and we sniffed it. It cleared everything. And I saw sacred geometry. It
Yeah.
was a clearing of my brain. I felt clear. It was a wonderful experience. There's something else that comes to mind when we're talking about, maybe I need a little tobacco to
Okay.
remember.
So the tobacco is referred to as rape or hape, right? And it
Right.
also comes from the Amazon. It's prepared by the indigenous people there, for the most part. And it helps you to, it's a very grounding medicine. So first it'll like light you up, right, within the cerebral part, but it's used to ground in a powerful way.
What is the spelling of Cabo?
Kambo, Kambo.
Yes, Liz, that's exactly what it is. I know what I wanted to bring into. I went to Costa Rica and it was a wonderful experience. And we had a cacao ceremony.
Mhm.
Cacao is plant medicine.
Yes.
And we saw how it was made. We saw how it was picked from the trees. We saw the essence of it. When we had the ceremony, it was one of the deepest euphoric feeling. It was not, I did not hallucinate. It was not psychedelic, but there was this feeling of wellness and wholeness.
We had a sweat lodge at Manuel's house a few years ago.
I was with you.
Well, yes, you were.
I was there.
And we had a bunch of our agape folks, and we did a cacao ceremony as well, right? So it's a heart opener.
I gotta say this though, that experience of the sweat lodge, girl, wait, girl.
So I think that's a different time from when we had the large group. That was a different one.
Oh, okay. So let me say, that experience was an experience of endurance,
Yes.
being in the space of just allowing the heat to cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
And my ancestors showed up in that sweat lodge and talked to me.
Wow.
I was like, and I was nothing. I was on the heat. I was on the sweat. It's a powerful experience. These experiences that we are denying ourselves because there's been so much shame around that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a time that I believe we're being called back to these practices.
Right. You work with crystal bowls as well, right?
Oh, yes.
That's another practice.
I know what I wanted to say to you
Uh-huh.
in the last segment. Our friend JJ does this breathing
Oh yeah.
experience. Breath is another way you can produce the same experience as ayahuasca or psilocybin through breath.
Yes. I've had 2 sessions long before I worked with plant medicines where they were very similar, right? There was a lot of visuals, there was a journeying, there was an experience, there was a healing. I think it's called heliotropic breath work. I believe.
Heliotropic breath work. So good. So good for us. I do want to talk about other types of plant medicine that we've experienced. One that had dropped me into a state of, I want to say I went to another dimension, and this is my experience of a cleansing, was Bufo. Can you explain what Bufo is?
Bufo is 5-MeO-DMT. It is the venom that is extracted from a frog that is typically only found in the Sonoran Desert. So they squeeze the glands that it has, like at this part of its head.
Why are you reaching at your hat?
Like this is where the glands are on the frog, right?
Why you reach at your hand? You about to squeeze a little of the venom out.
I'm like,
Do you have it?
how many toads up here, right?
Do you have some toads back there? Let's get a wider view so we can see Rev's toads back there. Oh, there they are.
Let me
There
grab-
they is.
let's see.
There they is.
Right. So here's one of them. So it has these glands, like right here on the side.
Right.
And so that's where they squeeze them. But do you know that these toads only come out for maybe a month or two out of the year? The rest of the time they're underground. So when the monsoons show up in the desert, then the toads come out to mate, and that's when they catch them and they take the medicine from them and then they release them again. So Bufo alvarius is the name of the toad, and its medicine is known as the most potent hallucinogenic on the planet. And it's known as the God molecule because often people have an experience of oneness with God, in addition to everything else you may need. And it lasts 20 minutes.
It drops you in. See, here's the story. When the first time I went, whoa, that was a drop in. In my experience was the closest thing that I felt to full integration into spirit. We call it samadhi. We're going to samadhi experience, and we're fully integrated into spirit. I had no body. No. I had literally no fear, no doubt, no worry, no shame. There was no past. There was no future. There was just now. It takes you to a place of full surrender to spirit. Part of this work for me was the beginning of the healing for me during COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an extreme fear of death. When COVID started, I was going through extreme fear of death. So you introduced me to Manuel. We started to really dive deep into this practice of fearing of dying, because so many people were dying around us.
And that's part of what happens when you do Bufo. You die. Your ego, you have an ego death, right?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And what happens too is that because we are not used to not being defined by our bodies, that when you lose that perception of like where you end and space begins and you become one with it all, it's overwhelming sometimes to the mind. Okay.
One of the things that I loved about, the first experience I had with you and Manuel, I felt so loved. I was surrounded by shamans around me, you included. There's a shamanic energy, and we might not have gone through our full initiation yet, but I believe the shaman is calling us, and then there was another, and then there was Manuel, and we got a chance I felt the love.
Mm-hmm.
I felt the love that allowed me to heal. The love that I've been searching outside of myself for so long to find healing. And then this is very, very important, the psilocybin that I did, I met my father in the vortex.
Wow. And
I asked my father, this is a whole different ceremony. I asked my father, why did you leave me? Because my father and I, we didn't, my father and my mother divorced when I was 1. I was like, why did you leave me? Why have you never been with me? My father has since passed. He made his transition, and he said to me, so profound. He said to me, I have never left you. I have always been with you, and I will always be with you. Mm-hmm. It was the first time that I ever forgave my father. I forgave myself for hating my father, but I forgave him. I mean, it was such a deep, profound experience. That was when I really understood the purpose of why we do ceremonies like this.
Yes.
Because in my own normal state of being, there's no way I could get there.
Sometimes we need a little assistance to do the initial heavy lifting, right?
Oh, I love that. Say that again.
That sometimes we need assistance to do the initial heavy lifting. And it's heavy, likely only because we've been carrying it for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. That reminds me of a great movie I recently saw, maybe about 6, 7 months ago. It's by East Forest. I don't know if you know the spiritual musician East Forest. He writes music for ceremony. If you don't know who East Forest is, y'all go check out East Forest. He's absolutely amazing. And he did this documentary. It's called Music for Mushrooms. And about 10 years ago, he did a whole album for ceremony, Music for Mushrooms. Then he did a documentary around it. And I remember him in this documentary talking about it's to assist you where you might not be able to go on your own. And then I remember him saying that, and not everyone will require to have ceremonies to get there. So you might need the assistance to get there, to get to the place of healing. But then maybe eventually you won't need the mushrooms. You won't need ketamine. You won't need any of that. You just able to go at your own. Yes.
I think that that's the point, right? Even if when you're working with the practitioner, our intention is not to keep you as a client forever. Our intention is that to get you to the point where you need us less and less, right? So the medicine works the same way, right? And I believe that God gave us everything that we need to support us while we're here on this planet, right? As plants, perhaps.
Absolutely. Liz, I'm going to answer that question, and I'm going to tell you no. I'm going to tell you no. The reason why we do have shamans to guide us into the space, but while you're in the practice of what's happening, there should be someone there to hold you, to love you, to hold you, to be with you and guide you home. And yes, it's one of the things that's non-hallucinogenic, but there is something that's going on energetically that's happening within your spirit. And you want to have someone to hold space for you as you're making this journey.
And
what do you say to that?
Not only that, but with Kambol, because it is a detoxifier, sometimes you're going to be purging out both.
Yeah, I was about to say, I purge.
So often you're throwing up, and sometimes it's coming out the other way, and you don't have the strength or the stability to get up and walk to the bathroom. So somebody needs to walk with you to the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah. One of the other plant medicines that we don't really talk about because I believe that it's become such a recreational experience, but I wanted to share a story. When my last back surgery, and you've been with me for both back surgeries, my last back surgery in 2018, when I went to the hospital and, at the height of that back surgery, I was on 12 opioids a day.
Wow.
And the doctor was like, do you want more? Do you want more? Do you want more? And I remember my best friend at the time, I got out of the hospital and said, I just can't do this anymore. I don't want to do these pain pills anymore. This is too much. I was literally just in a space of, I was a zombie.
Right.
And then I talked to another shaman. I talked to someone else who's like, okay, why aren't you using cannabis versus opioids? And I did use cannabis for pain as a pain management, and also to curve me off of the opioids. But CBD oil is a plant, and people don't understand CBD oil really helps the healing process.
Right. Right. I've had it recommended to me several times over the 20 plus years that I've had this autoimmune and inflammation going on. But I'm just very sensitive. So even when it has very low amounts of THC, it's like I get stoned and I can't function.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But they do recommend it for everything.
What would you say? One of the questions that we got from one of our viewers, or what would you say? Is it for everyone?
No. Especially if first of all, it's not for the faint of heart, right? Because it's going to show you some very difficult truths about yourself. And not everybody's ready to do that in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay. So I for one thought that it would be, I did it because I was looking to heal the autoimmune condition, right? Because I
Right.
was immobile. So what it has shown me was the deep layers of trauma, not only from this lifetime, but previous ones
Yeah.
that that have had an effect. And,
Yeah.
and in one of those visions with the buffo, I saw myself on a horse wearing like a knight's armor and with my sword killing people. And as I was killing them, I could feel the pain that I was inflicting.
Mm,
Come to terms with I have played that role as well.
yeah. 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 I see you, Liz. Yeah, cannabis makes me wacky too. And so but there are I think it's in Colorado, there are clinics where people go and they're in a it's I want to say not contained, what's the word I'm looking for? It is a space that has been designated for the use of cannabis as a healing. So it is and you lay in a bed and you go through a journey and you stay, it's a journey of 6 7 hours where
Wow.
you're going through the healing process of it. Yeah, sometimes it's not for everyone, for sure, for sure. I want to get to these other questions. There's so many questions. I think we need to do a part 2 of this. What is the spiritual for you? And we're gonna have to close on this, and I'll close on this. This is I guess, our takeaway. We'll call this our vibe insight for today. What is the spiritual takeaway you've had by using plant medicine?
It unplugged me from the matrix.
Say that again.
It unplugged me from what I thought reality was because it showed me God. And then I knew that this was just an experience, right? And it allowed me to begin to heal, and it has not stopped, right? Since
I
it all.
love that. I love that. For me, my vibe, energy, insight around plant medicine is my spirit is calling for another ceremony. It's been a while. But every time that I've ever been in any type of ceremony, I've always felt this true connection with spirit. Not to say that I don't feel it when I'm not there, but everything is broken down. All the things, it gets me there faster than, I've heard this and I get it. The ceremony can take you right there. That you've spent 10 years of spiritual counseling for, it will take you right. I think you even said that. It's a ceremony that's an instantaneous practitioner, 10-year practitioner session in 20 minutes.
Right.
So it's
Simply because I feel that practitioner sessions get you in one session with the practitioner, you do what you would do in 20 years with traditional therapy. And in one session with medicine, it could be what it would take you 10 years in a practitioner session.
I love that. I love that. Very quickly, tell us about your Bali trip.
So we're going to Bali, no plant medicine in Bali.
Hey,
Hey.
hey now.
No, but we will be accessing higher states of consciousness just because of the energy of the land and the energy within the sacred temple. So we are going July 13th through the 24th. You can go to my website, cynthiaambries.org, for more information.
Absolutely. And we're going to replay next week our Bali conversation with Cricket.
Okay.
And so that's going to be the replay for next week. So we're going to rerun that one. And my Bali trip, y'all, and we already have one person signed up. Thank you. But it's not until next year. But it's not too soon for you to sign up. You can do it in payment plans. We're going to the same space that Cynthia's going. So if you can't go with Rev Cynthia, you go with me, or you go with both of us. How about both of us? 2 trips to Bali in less than a year. Ooh, child, and no plant medicine, but there is healing experiences there that will take you to a deeper awakening to who and what you are. And you just spoke last week, but where are you on a regular as assistant minister?
So at Las Vegas Centers for Spiritual Living, you can find me there.
Awesome. And I am at North Hollywood Church of Religious Science, a center for oneness. And y'all, you can go to nhcrs.org, find out more information. The other thing too is, y'all, this is a ministry. And as a ministry, the New Thought Media Network requires contributions and sustainability for both of us. We're full-time ministers. If you want to give to the New Thought Media Network, go to ntmedia.org and give a donation. Or you can go directly to our PayPal and give a donation to myself and Reverend, I almost called you Dr. Cynthia. Am I calling something out? Dr. Cynthia, you can give directly to her PayPal by using her email. What's your email?
It's cindy.ambries@gmail.com.
And mine is skip@skipjennings.com. Give a donation, y'all. Give a donation. And the other thing too, love, I'm just so excited about our conversation that we are continuing to have over and over again. And part of this is understanding that we're both on spiritual growth. We're both on a spiritual growth. So we get to be teacher and we get to be students.
Yeah, all the time, right?
All the time, all the time. Sis, I just adore you so much. Thank you so much for hanging with me.
I love hanging out with you, Skip.
All right.
Althea, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Until next time, y'all, remember transformation is a choice. And you chose today because you showed up and you said yes. Don't forget, be kind. Why? Because kindness is free. Peace and love, everyone. Peace and love.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents The High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour with Reverend Cynthia and Reverend Skip. Fridays at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on New Thought Media Network.